มาร่วมเปิดมุมมองการลงทุนในเมกะเทรนด์โดยผู้เชี่ยวชาญด้านภูมิอากาศจาก Climate Finance Partner กับคุณแอรอน บลูมการ์เดน
My name is Aaron Bloomgard, and I'm the founding partner of Climate Finance Partners, and I've been investing in carbon markets for the past 20 years. It's my view that climate change is the single largest macroeconomic and geopolitical trend impacting the global economy and financial markets for the foreseeable future. This presents investors with risks, but also massive opportunities. And one such opportunity is global carbon markets. And these markets use the power of finance and financial markets to help solve climate change. These markets use a new type of financial instrument called a carbon credit to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So a carbon credit is a tradable unit that's used to represent the reduction or avoidance typically of 1 ton of greenhouse gas emissions. And there are two types of carbon credits. There are carbon allowances and there are carbon offsets. So over the last 20 years, we have seen a massive increase in the deployment of carbon markets, with nearly 20% of global emissions now covered by some form of carbon market. And these markets are perhaps the most important tool, or at least one of the most important tools, that we have available to address climate change. Because by putting a price on carbon, it impacts incentives and prices throughout the economy. It makes polluting more expensive, and it makes doing the green and clean activity more financially attractive. So for investors, investing in carbon credits can be compelling as it can deliver both environmental benefit and also financial returns. And so we have seen that in order to have the necessary environmental impact, the carbon price needs to be above a certain level. If it's too low, you don't have the environmental impact. So this is an interesting feature for investors. Furthermore, as these markets ratchet down their emissions, the price is in many of these markets, the price is expected to grow. So, reversing climate change is perhaps the biggest challenge we have ever faced as a society. And carbon markets and carbon credits provide an avenue for investors to play their role.
เมื่อตลาดคาร์บอนเครดิตทั่วโลกกำลังเติบโตและขยายตัวสูงขึ้นนับเป็นจังหวะที่ดีในการเข้าลงทุนผ่านบริษัทจัดการด้านการลงทุนระดับโลกอย่าง KraneShares ETF ที่ลงทุนใน KraneShares Global Carbon Strategy ETF หรือ KRBN
KraneShares, which was established in 2013 initially to focus on China and emerging markets, has now launched its full climate suite of products. That includes the very first, most liquid carbon ETF. It also includes transition equities and also the natural resources that will be required to take part in the $100 trillion climate cycle of capital that will be needed to reverse climate change. So we're very excited to offer not just our expertise in global markets, but also very specifically in impact and climate investing. KRBN is the global carbon strategy, and that ETF is a first-to-market offering that gives investors access to the cap-and-trade programs. These cap-and-trade programs, whether it be the European Union, the California market, which is paired with Canada, the northeast of the US, which is named RGGI, or even the UK carbon market, we give a diversified exposure to these carbon allowances. Now, what carbon allowances are the cap-and-trade programs, where these individual economies, at a completely transparent regulatory level, have set caps on pollution, and then over time will reduce those caps. That means that these allowances, essentially permits on carbon, will rise in value as demand for these allowances stays consistent as supply dries up. So being long carbon markets gives you an almost pure play on tightening climate regulation. And that's why we're especially excited to offer KRBN as an ETF. Not to mention the fact that carbon allowances do not correlate with most other traditional asset classes. So you have something that is potentially geared for upside, has low correlations, and has impact, and that's why the climate suite at KraneShares is proving so popular with investors looking for these types of solutions.